I'm John Porter, and I'm going to show you how it's possible to get an image from 8mm film onto one of these, a DVD, digital. The projector used here is a UMIG Mark S712D, which means that it's dual gauge and it will record and reproduce sound. Now, I haven't got onto the sound part of it; that would come later, but I could imagine there could be some tricky things to do to get the synchronization of the sound to picture. Anyway, this is the projector that I used. I picked it up on eBay. And once I got the projector, I stripped it down. Okay, so I removed the lamp holder, because obviously you don't need a 50-watt lamp behind this. I took out the flywheel because it's not needed, we're not doing sound at this stage. I removed the fan, but that wasn't absolutely necessary, but it came out anyway. The air chute for the cooling the lamp from the fan, and just miscellaneous brackets inside the machine, and in this case I took out the lens. So looking at the projector, coming along to the lamp, I found that a good light source was one of these. It's just one of those cheap $3 torches that you can get around the place. It's got 9 LEDs into it, so I cut down the housing on one of these and then put series resistors on each LED and ran it off a 12-volt supply. I don't know whether you can see it here, but there's a bracket right here where there's a piece of plastic, a piece of semi-transparent plastic, which is used as the light diffuser. And coming further along here, we've got the lens assembly. Now, I don't know a terrible lot about lenses, but I found after a bit of experimentation, it was necessary to remove the original lens, and I used the lens from a 35mm slide projector to get the image, but of course it was necessary to make up an adapter. The lens adapter is made up of different pieces of PVC, as you can see, glued and shaped so that it will fit into the body of the projector. And this has actually worked quite well. The thing is to keep it as steady as possible, that is, that there's no movement in the lens, side to side movement or up and down movement. So having removed those items that I talked about before, the flywheel which fits on here, and then rerouting the wiring is to come straight across here down to the motor here. You'll see that I've left the original motor in place because this is handy for fast forward, rewinding and reverse, high speed reverse. I've got a little motor up here which I salvaged from a printer machine, and the motor just runs on the original wheels here. Okay, so it's a little 9-volt motor and it'll run quite happily to turn the machine over at a speed required to capture the image. So, and it's got to run quite slow, of course. Okay, so you'll notice the shutter blade here, which originally had 3 blades on it, and 2 of the blades have been removed so that as the shutter comes round, the main shutter, the film becomes stationary in the gate. The shutter blade comes along here to an octo switch. It was right there. It cuts the beam on the octo switch, and then there's a little transistorized circuit, an inverter. It's a BC457, I think it is, to invert the signal so that a 5-volt pulse is sent to an auxiliary mouse, and it's wired across the left-hand switch. So that pulse simulates a left-hand click, which I'll explain later. So all of this is powered up. We've got a power supply, 12-volt supply for the LEDs. And I found it necessary to put a heatsink on there. It's got a little bit warm. There's an adjustable 9-volt or 12-volt supply for the motor. And then you've got the mouse on the side here. Looks all looks a very bit rough and ready, which it is, but hey fellas, that's how we like it, isn't it? To capture the image, I'm using the standard definition Canon camcorder, and it's getting on a bit now in use, but it does the job. For 8mm film, you don't really need high definition. I found that you don't need that high definition image. It doesn't make an awful lot of difference. So the camera runs continuously and then streams the image through into the computer. With the tripod, of course, you've got to have it very, very stable. It's no good. The slightest movement it will dramatically affect the image, because we're looking at such a small image on the 8mm film. So it doesn't matter what you use really. I made this thing up from bits and pieces of scrap aluminium, an aluminium leg from a bench, which is adjustable up and down. That is, this tray here is adjustable up and down via this. The platform here is adjustable left and right through here, but really you don't need all of this stuff, just so long as you can get the right height to look squarely into the lens, and then macro zoom down the lens with the camera. The main thing is that it's stable. I've had to do a fair bit of modification to get any movement out of this thing, but once it's set up at the right height, you don't have to adjust it anymore. So, as I say, you can use anything as a tripod, providing it's stable enough. Now, with the software, I found an excellent program to use is the Corel Video Studio X9, because in their capture page there is a stop motion function that is ideal for this particular application. So in the capture page you can get a good image in the viewing window and clearly see down the bottom, as it appears, each frame will come up one at a time, and then if you get any blanks, then you know you're getting dropouts. The projector is running too fast. Slow it down a bit so that the software has time to capture and process the signal. So the camera's streaming the image into the PC, and you'll notice that there's a second mouse here that is second to the other mouse that we had which is processing the image or sending the pulse through, is I've got a second mouse here where I can get control over the cursor and line it up with the button here, so that each time the pulse is sent from the other mouse, it will click and the image is captured. Now I found this quite handy because you can actually remove the cursor from the button, which stops the process, and do another functions with it. Now the camera, of course, is set up for manual focus and manual aperture setting. Now this is quite critical because as the film goes through the gate, if it's on automatic, you'll get variations in the image. So, having done all of that and having captured the reel or the clip that you want, go back into your editing stage where you can go through the normal motions to do stuff like you'll have to invert the image because it's upside down and transpose it around the other way, and then set white levels or brightness levels or whatever else you want to in the time frame. Just a tip here, before running the film through the projector, it's a good idea to clean it first with a soft velvety rag here, or piece of cloth. Just let it go quite slowly between your fingers, let it run through, and a couple of times, and this will take off quite a lot of dust and muck that might be on the original film. Well, there you have it, an interesting project which is economically to do and does produce good results. Thanks for watching.